What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another very exciting episode right here on the MIgardener channel. In today's episode, I'm going to be sharing with you a super simple tool that you can use in your garden to not only grow more food in less space, but have better success with the seeds that you're sowing. And that little tool is a wooden dowel. That's right, a wooden dowel. It is such a simple tool, but it can make a huge difference in your garden with not only how straight your rows are, and if you're comparing, if your rows are very straight, and you're comparing that over a 10 or a 20-foot row, 2 inches off can really add up. If you are 2 inches off every single time you make 6 rows, you're off by a foot. So you're not only going to save a ton of space in your garden, but you're going to be more efficient with the space that you have, meaning you're going to be growing more food. And that's what we're all about here. So that's another really good component to this tool, but also the really great, the side effect, a good positive side effect of using these is the fact that you can see how deep your furrows are. We talked in our last episode about how we use these to measure our furrow depth, or how deep we're planting our seeds. If you sow seeds too deeply, they can't germinate, they don't have enough strength to germinate up through, and so they'll die. They'll basically be smothered out by the soil. Seeds that are planted too shallow, if you need seeds that are planted, say, a ½ inch to a ¼ inch deep, those seeds, they need more soil to be able to push up through so they can pull that seed coating off. We talked about that. So if you haven't seen that video, make sure you go check it out, because that will give you some reference as to why I have 2 different sized dowel rods here. Now, these dowel rods I picked up at our local hardware store. They are 3 feet long, and that's ideal because our beds are just a little over 3 feet wide. They're about 3 feet 4 inches, something like that, wide. And so I picked up these dowel rods here so I can basically create really nice straight rows with a single dowel rod. And then what I can do is I can actually press them in the soil so that when the top of the dowel rod is flush to the soil, I know how deep my furrow is. And so what I'm getting at is I have 2 different dowel rods that are different diameters. This dowel rod is a ½ inch in diameter. That means that if this dowel is flush with the soil surface, I'm going to have a ½ inch trench that I can direct sow my seeds. I have another dowel rod that is a ¼ inch in diameter. That means that when this is flush with the soil, I have a furrow that is a ¼ inch deep. That means I'm not going to be sowing my seeds any deeper than a ¼ inch, because this is making the trench for me. The next thing that it's going to do is it's going to make my rows much straighter, which, like I said, is going to conserve the amount of space that I have, because I'm not wasting it by going, skewing my lines all over the place. I'm also going to get better results once my seeds sprout, because you might have one seed that has 5 inches spacing in between each other, and then another seed that has like 3-inch spacing. Because when you take your rows, obviously you can see here at the bottom, if they're off, the bottom is much closer than the top. And that's a really simple kind of visual as to just how effective this can be to getting straighter rows. Anything you can do to be more accurate means you're going to be growing more food in less space. And like I said, that's what this is all about. That's what our channel is all about. Alrighty, so all I'm going to do is just make sure that my bed is as level as possible. I've come through here with a rake, and I've really kind of raked the surface as level as I can get, because if you have any high spots or low spots, it will obviously kind of skew your results. Now, this is not the most accurate thing that you can do, but it sure beats just taking, a shovel and just digging a big trench here, because you really aren't, when you do that, you're really not sure how deep you are, because there's no visual cue. So if I were to set this in the soil, this trench here is well below a ½ inch, well below a ½ inch. So what I want to do is I want to have this visual cue here, so that way I know. And also, random tree sprouting in my bed here. Also, I really want to be able to press this down so that it compacts the soil. Whenever you compact the soil, people talk about how soil compaction is not a good thing. However, if you have really good loose soil like I have, soil compaction is a good thing for creating contact with seeds. The better contact you have with your seeds, the better they're going to germinate. So all I do is I just stick this in here, I press it down, I rock this back and forth so that my furrow is a little wider. And there we go. Now I have a perfect furrow that is exact depth that I need. It's a nice straight line. And I'm just going to take my seeds and I'm going to sow my radishes. There we go. It's that simple. And just keep going until you're done. Very simple. Very, very simple to use. So there you go. It is really that simple. I hope you guys use this method. I hope that you enjoy it. I hope you learned something new. If you did, make sure to throw a like up there. Make sure to spread this video around with your friends if you think they'd enjoy it as well. And also, post in the comments box below if you yourself have used this method. I really love it, and it's something that I just continually come back to because I mean, you can use strings, you can stretch strings across. That takes quite a bit of time to set up. You gotta poke a nail in, stretch the string across. That's a tongue twister. And it works, but you know, there's a lot of setup required. But these things right here, you know, they're so cheap. This thing was, I think, like $1.50 at our local hardware store. And so, you know, just takes no time at all to sit on the ground, wiggle it back and forth, and you got your rows. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you learned something new. And as always, this is Luke from the MIgardener channel, reminding you to grow big or go home. We'll catch you all later. See ya. Bye.